Hi, I'm Mary Catherine. I'm a health psychologist. And the other day, I have to be frank, I was really having some major fear and hesitation because I was feeling a sense of everything's moving too fast, this whole AI thing, and what am I going to be able to contribute as I get older? And so just made me feel very fearful. I took a step back. And I think as we get older, yes, it does mean some things decline, but there's other things too that we bring to the table that are really a superpower. And I wonder if you really know about this superpower and that it gets better as we get older and that we really do have something that we bring to the table. And it's something that is amazingly unique to all of us as we get older. Yes, I'm Mary Catherine. I'm a health psychologist. You know what? I don't know what's going on. Maybe I spoke a lot too much. I'm tongue tied. But I think I come here each week to really share and motivate you that it's something that we can all do something about every single day to help ourselves be the very best version of who we are so we can be functional well into our 80s and 90s. That's the whole goal of Healthy by George. It's my father who inspired me to do this because he really struggled as he got older. And I want us all to be thriving into our 80s and 90s and not struggling. So please subscribe. Please join me here each week so that we can share and I can motivate and help maybe break things down in my simplistic way so that we can all take choices that we can do each day to make ourselves the very best version of who we are. Push that like button and share, and I'll see you here each week. So, what am I talking about? It's this ability called self-awareness, and that it's greatly, I think, misunderstood. And once you really start to become someone who understands it, it's a powerful component that helps you with dealing with your fear, dealing with depression, dealing with challenges as you get older. The more that you can get in touch and foster your self awareness. I have the very clear picture of when I really became someone who understood what self awareness was. I was performing, I'm a singer, I was performing, and it was so magnificent. I could almost see myself on the stage. I could be present to the singing I was involved in, but I also had this feeling of where I was in my body as I was standing there near the piano, the audience, and something happened, like something fell off the piano. I could easily bend down and pick it up. I didn't ignore it. I felt present in the moment, both outside of my body, yet inside it as well. Amazing what our brains can do, right? Self awareness is that capability to observe our own thoughts, our own emotions, our own signaling of our body, our own behavior, and we can also step away from it. We can also see like the exterior of our behavior from an external place of ability. So it shows us how we are in the world. And truthfully, we can focus on an internal self awareness, especially as it relates to our body, because that's really what's going to keep us mentally sharp and clear as we get older. The more that we adopt ways to engage our self awareness, it becomes our superpower as we get older. So, what does this mean, a self concept of clarity? What does the research tell us about that? Older adults have a much more stable sense of self. We've been who we are for a much longer period of time than most people. So, typically, things that happen don't give us, our apple cart is not upset so easily. Nothing rattles us as easily. We also have some self-reflection maybe on worse times that we've encountered or times that we've overcome bad circumstances that have occurred and we've learned how to navigate that for ourselves. So when things do happen, we have a sense of perspective and that we are able to compare it to other things that have occurred. So, in a real sense, us as older adults, we have a deep self sense of who we are. And it's something that comes with an aging brain, that we are just someone who can self reflect and measure our biological kind of state and how it correlates with maybe where we are in the world, where we are socially. And we can also understand it as we experience pain or fatigue or stress or disappointment or feeling down or isolated. All of these things are things that we as older adults can figure out in a deeper way. And so, why does this matter, this sense of self awareness? The issue is that we can use this ability so that when things happen, such as pain, and we recognize how the body processes it, we can help ourselves deflect it. We can use our brain, as I was talking in an earlier episode, to use mindfulness or self hypnosis, or we have places that we have chosen that give us a sense of feeling better. We have a deeper sense of who we are as our bodies and our internal self. We can accurately feel what's going on in our body and how can I interrupt these pain cycles that have worked for me before. That's the biggest thing about self awareness, that we can notice when we're becoming tense, and that sort of precedes a major physical health issue, and that we need to maybe stop or intervene, do breath work earlier, or do something that helps us with our mindset before things in our body spiral out of control. We can have a sense of what works for us and that we can do things that change our relationship to this pain signaling, and that we've learned through our adaptive processes because of our age that we can overcome or prevent this situation or circumstance from rolling into a higher level where we can't do anything about it. And also, too, even when our nervous system gets reactive, it's hard, even with medications, to calm it down. So, self awareness and pain is a big deal. And if you have a sense of what triggers your pain or what stimulates pain, this can really help you bring in those mindfulness practices. It can really help you engage in those self hypnosis and meditative or breathing practices that give you the pain relief that you are familiar with providing yourself. Self awareness also helps us with our fatigue and dealing with chronic fatigue. Chronic fatigue has been a big deal after the COVID crisis, and fatigue often feels like something that no one can see. It's often really overlooked if you're someone who suffers from this. But if you understand your sense of chronic fatigue, where it's either physical or emotional, and that you are able to, by understanding your patterns, you can help yourself by pacing. You can figure out a way for you to have strategies so that you can manage your fatigue. You have already determined and adopted mechanisms of how to manage your day. This feeling of how to sense yourself when you might feel a sense of fatigue overwhelming you. Maybe you know that you need to stop earlier, or maybe you know that you can only concentrate for several hours and you need to take a break. I know sometimes for me, I have a hard time concentrating on sometimes the difficult things. And it's something that if I don't deal with it in a structured way, I will procrastinate, which is not very good. I think also too, as an older adult, our self-awareness helps us deal with emotional regulation. So often as an older person, we're able to manage our anger a little bit better. We're able to manage those things that trigger our sense of old traumas or old habits or things that I think put us on a spiral pathway downward. We're able to go, no, we're going to stop that because our self awareness allows us to be conscious that if I allow myself to perpetually think about that or be around that or engage in certain activities, I'm going to feel a sense of disappointment in myself, or I'm going to feel down, or my energy is going to be defeated. So you can, as you get older, you start to learn a little more about how you can be around someone who's toxic or a situation that's toxic for you, and you recognize it right away. And instead of just staying there, you excuse yourself. You learn to say, oh, you know what, I'm not available, or oh no, I'm not capable of coming, because you've really learned that this is something that doesn't help you. I think also too, as we get older, we start to deal with loss a little more effectively. As we get older, there's going to be physical decline. There's going to be loss of a loved one. I'm having to remember that 10 years ago, my husband passed away. And so I've come to manage this in a way that is helpful. Yes, it didn't happen overnight, but with some deep self awareness, I've been able to really structure myself so when those feelings show up, I'm able to reflect on the things that were really very happy and the things that I knew about my husband that I loved and cared for versus the things that were negative, discouraging, or the manner in how he died. All of those things that I can distinguish between what it is that I need to help myself deal with. I know that this sounds like maybe I need to age a little more because it sounds a little fantasy, but maybe all you have to do is a little bit of this. Self awareness is truly about allowing yourself to be aware of invisible dangers or invisible activities or invisible things that we can start to take a step back and have a deeper understanding about, is this something that I really want to engage in my body? Is this something that I want to be around who supports me and who cares about me? And that basically they make me feel happy to be with them. We're really much better at detecting this, and we're not going to allow ourselves to engage in those relationships anymore because our self awareness is really about protection. It's about allowing ourselves to understand that stress body connection and that we're starting to learn. I'm starting to feel that sense of I don't feel heard, I don't feel seen, I don't feel acknowledged. So then why do I want to do this activity or why do I want to be around these people? You really start to learn early signs of what it is that is not acceptable for you as a human being by using your sense of self awareness. You start to see that your sleep is bothering you, or you're holding some tension in your jaw. Or if you're like me, you suddenly are desiring sugar. Where's the donuts? All of these things start to show up. And the more I'm in touch with my self awareness, the more I'm capable of guarding and protecting the things about me that promote my health and well being. That's really what it is about getting older, is you learn more about what it is that makes you and how you want to start to show up in the world. These are the key concepts, that knowing that your brain has the ability to sense your body and what it's feeling and how it's moving and how it's also emotionally connected. And that this is something you can train by giving yourself the opportunity to start to notice these early signs. Am I feeling comfortable? Am I feeling heard? Am I feeling seen? Am I feeling a sense of happiness or relaxation or joy around these individuals? I think we really need to connect more as we're getting older, that we have this ability to self reflect. and that we can do this. And the more that we do it, it strengthens that mind body connection and it improves our neuroplasticity as we get older. The more that we're able to step around those things that don't serve us faster, the more our brain begins to improve and show us earlier when it's not something that we need to be doing, either mentally or physically, emotionally or spiritually. So the body check-in is really the key component in any situation. To pause, take a breath, think about, where am I feeling my tension right now? Or why do I feel so relaxed? Both of those things are really great to reflect on, because then that can really allow you to notice how your brain is picking up on the tools that help you over time have the best approach to protecting your mind body connection. You can also think about feelings. Naming how you are feeling is a problem I've always had. I don't necessarily know sometimes how I'm feeling, whether I'm feeling bad or disappointed, or I'm feeling a little happy or afraid. Often, by being capable of telling yourself, I have to say, you know what? I don't really know what I'm feeling. Let me think it about it a little more. That is a powerful process. Because once you can tell what your emotion is and have words to define how you're feeling, it gives you a clue as to why you're reacting to something. Is it something that someone said? Is it something that happened that made you feel this way? I think so often, or is it some old inner talk that doesn't serve us anymore that we need to let go of? All of those things are really amazing. The other process is journaling, is giving yourself some kind of a audit at the end of the month and letting yourself think, how has it gone? How have I felt? Do I feel like my circle of friends is very loving and caring? Do I feel like that the actions and the things that I engage in are something that gives me fuel and energy and a sense of satisfaction and pride? Or is it something that makes me feel torn down or depressed or discouraged? This is very powerful to do some kind of reflection each month or at the end of each week. This can truly help you if you really find that whatever you're doing during the week or what you're doing for work is not serving you, then it's time to reinvent and move forward and do something different, which is not always easy. These are practices that will help us achieve a sense of that reflection about our own sense of self-awareness. And I love how Gary Vee talks about the quality of self-awareness and the need for self-awareness, and that to come with love and generosity and compassion towards yourself as you think about these things about, how am I building a life for myself as I get older that really is about knowing who you are and what makes you tick and what makes you feel good and what makes you feel down. All of these things are truly within your power because you've been doing it for so many years. So be well, my friends. You have this one beautiful life. And let's keep going deeper with our mind body connection every week. That's the truth about how wonderful an aging brain is, that it really gives us clues and it listens to our body. But are we willing to be present to understand and name it and maybe write about it or talk about it or bring it to the consciousness of your perception so that you can be a deeper aware person about what it is that makes your life feel fulfilling and that you feel appreciated and cared for. All of those things are a need that we need in our life as we get older. So be well, like I said, and think about subscribing. I'd love to see you here each week where we can share and motivate one another to be the very best version of ourselves. It takes daily action.
of doing something that understands the depth of who we are and what a magnificent brain we have that has gotten us to this very point in our years of experience. I know for me, this is very reassuring, especially as I think about as I get older and closer to 70. So please be well. Please share. I would love to see you here every week, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.
So thank you so much for joining me at Healthy by George. I hope you found the information inspiring and that it encourages you on your wellness journey. Because remember, your body, your well-being are a most precious gift, and every tiny action taken daily can make a huge difference. I hope the information here is educational purposes and is not meant to replace your medical care. See your doctor and talk about what works for you. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me continuing creating content that inspires and empowers you to live your best life. Goodbye for now, and join me again at the next Healthy by George.